Is it too late to buy Bitcoin? How much Bitcoin do I need to own? Should I buy altcoins? Is it a good idea to take a loan out and buy cryptocurrencies? These are some of the most commonly asked questions that I've struggled with myself. And this is a little bit of the story about my journey and the strategies I'm taking to acquire more of these digital assets. Essentially, I do believe that there is an excellent use case for cryptocurrencies. They are a better store of value than our dollar, and they are a better medium of exchange than gold. But my question is, we all know that Bitcoin is valuable. You can see the price at $108,000 right now. And for me, I just say $100,000 because it's fluctuating in that area. But is it too late at a price of $100,000? We know that Satoshis are divisible so small it's less than a penny. You can buy several Satoshis for less than a penny. So that means that you can buy any amount of Bitcoin if you want to, enough to divide it infinitely. The next question I have is it worth buying? The question is, if you don't have Bitcoin, then what do you have? So you're going to store your time in something, whether it's a garden that you dedicated time to ensure future food supplies, or whether it's work that they pay you a salary to ensure the resources to pay for somebody else's time, or stores of food, or whatever resources. So you're basically saving your time in something. And essentially, there's a lot of different horses in the race. There's gold. It's always gone up over time, but it doesn't go up as fast as some other assets. Some assets are at a cutting edge, like let's just say AI sector, like NVIDIA. If you were to have seen the future before the future came, which AI technology and the mass production and need for microprocessors and circuit boards and all that stuff, the digital economy we live in, then you could have gotten ahead and you could have stored your wealth into an area where people didn't see coming. That's kind of what I feel like crypto is today. Crypto is literally blockchain 3.0. It's Web 3.0, and it's because it's on a blockchain. So instead of everything being centralized, now everything's going decentralized. So the entire world will basically get stored on the blockchain at some point. And we're still super early. This stuff will take time to implement across the board. And big governments and big companies, they're hard to transfer everything over, but they will start somewhere at some point. First comes with rules and regulations, then adoption, and then mass adoption. We're still in the rules and regulations phase. So the question is, when you're going to store your money, are you too late for Bitcoin or any crypto asset? And the answer is no. There's a few different levels of investing into Bitcoin. There's the take what you can afford to lose and invest in Bitcoin. And that's the mindset of, I think this is a gamble. And it is a gamble because we don't know, because we are on the cutting edge of technology. But because it's a gamble, we're going to be erring on the side of caution. And we're going to only put the amount of money we can afford to lose. Like if FTX was to collapse and you had all your money in Luna or Terra or something, and it all went away, you're okay. There's another level. I'm going to take a large portion of my net worth and put it in there. And that means that you are willing to take a risk. And that means that you're going to lose a lot of your money. It's going to really hurt. But you feel so strongly about this asset, you don't think that's realistically a possibility, so you're willing to invest more. And then there's people who live on the Bitcoin standard. And the Bitcoin standard means that you don't hold any cash. And really, you don't hold any assets. I don't do that. That's not where I'm at with this. I can't afford to lose the assets I've acquired, notably my house and stuff like that. And some people are willing to take that leap, but I've got a lot of other things going on my property that I value more than financial things, like restoring the habitat and forest that I've been working on for 7 years, or 5 to 7 years. I can't remember exactly how long, but trying to build an ecosystem in a rainforest so I can appreciate it when I get old and gray. there's no amount of money that I would trade that for. So I won't put everything into it. But there's also the question of, do you borrow money to buy Bitcoin? And that's a personal question that everybody has to ask themselves if they're thinking about it. Would I borrow money to buy more Bitcoin? That's what Michael Saylor's done. Michael Saylor's leveraged his company and borrowed a bunch of money from a bunch of investors and invested it into Bitcoin, and it's worked out really great for him. We don't really see Michael Saylor's full strategy, micro strategy, but the thing the name itself says is that it's a strategy. So it's not a religion. It means that he eventually may change his strategy. We must accept that. And what would we do too? You know, if he's got to a certain standard of living, maybe he'll just disappear and be happy and be gone. You know, and that's his prerogative, meaning that if that's what he thought was his intention with the Bitcoin standard, well, then if he's happy, that's what he's going to do. But your intention should be probably whatever you think is the most important. And for me, what I think most important is that I take my time that I work hard to get, my natural resources, and I invest it into something that won't depreciate over time, like the dollar bill has done. So I'm buying other things that potentially will go up in time. It sucks that I didn't really learn about money until late in my 30s. You know, I'm going on 40 years old now, and here I am. I don't have a real retirement yet. You know, if I was to retire today, I'd be in a lot of trouble. And I think that a lot of people are in the same position that I'm in. I have to make my own best financial decisions, and that's why I'm sharing openly about this. The title of the video is, should you borrow money to buy Bitcoin? And that's going to depend on your own certain circumstances. If you're in a position where you have some money saved, you're not all the way in on something, like everything you own isn't pending on Bitcoin's price going up or down, then like MicroStrategy is doing, I'm sure he has reserves and stuff, proof of reserves, and probably has a long time horizon before he's forced to pay back. But if you're in a position where you're living paycheck to paycheck, or rent's coming due next week, you've got rent money, should you take your money and put it all into Bitcoin until rent's due in a week? No, don't do that, because Bitcoin fluctuates enough that you could be short rent. So don't think you'll be up, because you don't really know. You're probably more likely to be down, because a lot of times people sell when they're down because they get scared and I have to figure out how to make the money, and they don't sell when they're up. They hold when they're up and they sell when they're down, and it's just instinctual. But if you're in a position where you perhaps got like a 401k and that's kind of your retirement, and maybe you've got some other liquid assets, like maybe a little bit of money in a safe, or you hold some precious metals, or you've got an extra vehicle, or you've got family that you can really depend on, assets that you can kind of front yourself to maintain the lifestyle that you find necessary. Your house, your electric, whatever it is that makes your lifestyle the lifestyle you want to live. Then you could borrow some money to buy more Bitcoin. Just realize you got to pay it back. So that means make sure your time horizon is long enough, and your confidence and trust in Bitcoin is great enough that you're willing to accept that if Bitcoin, for some reason, Satoshi Nakamoto comes out of the dark and appears and says, I'm selling all my million plus coins, and Bitcoin takes a dump and goes down, that you're either going to wait for it to go up for a long enough time horizon, you're going to pay the interest for the borrowed money on Bitcoin, or pay it off as quickly as you can, or sell some of your other liquid assets like that extra car, that gold and silver, that jewelry, that money in the safe, and pay it off when you need to. Then you could borrow money and buy Bitcoin. Everybody's situation's different, and it's not for everybody. If you have a gambling habit, do not borrow money to buy Bitcoin, because you're just gambling your money. But do your research, meaning that understand Bitcoin, understand the 4-year cycle, Maybe look at stock market chart patterns to know when a good time to buy is compared to a bad time. Now, Bitcoin's not going to follow those patterns all the time. This is not financial advice. This is the strategies that I personally use to decide if, when I'm investing, if it's a good buy or is it too risky for my standard of living. I appreciate y'all. I do want to update y'all pretty regularly on this channel. Some of my investing techniques, not that I think I'm better than anyone, but these are the things that I've learned over the last 7 to 8 years investing and watching so many things happen and missing a lot of opportunities. And a lot of it is because I was scared. There is one really good quote that I heard, and it goes like this: if you're willing to take great risk, then you have taken the necessary risk to achieve greatness. Make sure you consider that with every decision, and that failure is not unacceptable. It is essential for growth, and that we don't care if you fail, because nobody remembers the failures. Everybody only remembers the successes, meaning that if you fail, but then you hit it big, you hit it big. It didn't matter that you failed. You were just learning the whole way. That's like somebody's like, oh, you hit me in a fight, lucky punch. There's no lucky punch. And Andrew Tate said it. He's like, dude, if I threw a punch and it hit you, that's just a punch. It landed. That's a hit. It doesn't matter if I threw 50 punches and I hit you one time. I threw one good punch. And that's where my strategies come from, is that I'm throwing enough punches, I'm investing in enough things that I missed so many great opportunities. I watched Dogecoin go to the moon, like see a little dog on the moon. I watched ABC AMC and GameStop go to the moon, and I missed that bandwagon with Roaring Kitty. And then I watched Nvidia take off from nowhere and knew about it forever. Like, what's this Nvidia company? Well, I knew about it and knew what they were doing and didn't even see it. I watched like Da Vinci's operating systems go to the moon, and I was like, well, I'm gonna buy the next best Da Vinci operating systems. And I bought Transcentric, and they went bankrupt because I was like, I'm gonna try to catch the next wave. Transcentric essentially was the same thing as Da Vinci. However, it was a little smaller company. And I was like, well, there's great potential, and they were doing great things. Flop, because first mover advantage. So maybe that's another thing you should consider when investing into a new asset class like crypto, is that the first mover advantage is the one that's probably going to win, unless the technology is so much better that the first mover is obsolete. It's not useful. It can't solve the problems that it is. I will tell you this, Bitcoin still solves all the problems that it originally was designed to solve. It's still a great medium of exchange. It's a transaction peer-to-peer over any border, unregulatable, unstoppable, immutable. It's a great store of value. It's only increased in value over time. So it will always do that probably better than any crypto. So why do you buy other cryptos? Well, let's look at that next time. Peace.